Hi, welcome back. This is the Unit 11 review, and we're going to continue on here with problem 2. It says, use the figure below for problems 2 through 8. Indicate the relationship between the given angles. So 1 and 3. So here's 1 and here's 3. And I would say those are vertical angles. And because they're vertical angles, they are congruent. And then 3 says angle 4 and angle 6. Well, here's angle 4 and here's angle 6. And these are alternate interior angles. And because they're on the inside of the parallel lines, we call them interior angles. And alternate means this one's on one side of the transversal and kind of up, and the other one's on the other side of the transversal and down. So, and this, by the way, is the transversal. Line N is the transversal. And if these lines are parallel, let's assume that they are. Let's write in that they are. This is what that symbol means. If they're parallel, then we can also conclude that these are congruent, that their angle measures are the same. All right, let's go to angle 4 and angle 8. Here's angle 4 and here's angle 8. And so these are the two parallel lines. I can say that in relationship to this vertex, this one's down and to the right, and over here, this one's down and to the right. And so they correspond. They're in the same position. So angle 4 and angle 8 are corresponding angles. And once again, assuming that the lines that form them are parallel, we can also say that these are congruent. And then finally here we got angle 1 and angle 7. So 1 and 7. And they are in the outside of the parallel line, so we'd say they're exterior. And one's on the one side, one's on the other, so that we'd say they're alternate exterior angles. And once again, if they're parallel lines, we can say that they are congruent. All right, number 6, it says if a measure of angle 5 is 105, we can just label that in our diagram here. If the measure of angle 5 is 105 degrees, then what's the measure of angle 4? Well, these are consecutive interior angles or same side interior angles because they're on the same side of the transversal. They're interior because they're inside the parallel lines. They're inside the parallel lines. And so they will be supplementary. So I can say the measure of angle 4 plus 105 equals 180 degrees. I then subtract 105 from both sides. And the measure of angle 4 would be 75, right? So 75 degrees. Now, if the measure of angle 6, let's go, we're assuming something different now. The measure of angle 6 is 75 degrees. If we say this is 75 degrees, then what's the measure of angle 8? 6 and 8 are vertical angles, so measure of angle 8 would also be 75 degrees. Yeah, 75 degrees. All right. And then it says the measure of angle 1 is 105. What is the measure of angle 7? So let's go over here. The measure of angle 1 is 105 degrees. what would be the measure of angle 7? Well, 1 and 7 are both on the outside of the parallel lines, which means they're exterior angles. And one's on the bottom, one's on the top. They're on opposite sides of the parallel lines, and they are also on opposite sides of the transversal. So they are alternate exterior angles, and therefore they are also congruent. Like we talked about up here, alternate exterior angles are congruent if the lines that form them are parallel. And so that means the measure of angle 7 would also be 105 degrees. All right, let's look at number 9. Solve for x. Once again, we're gonna. It doesn't really matter that these lines. Oops. It doesn't matter that these lines are parallel or if they're not parallel. Sorry. Because we're really only concerned about this line and this line that intersect. Because they intersect, this angle and this angle that are opposite from this vertex are vertical angles, and therefore they're congruent. So it doesn't really matter. This line down here doesn't really matter, doesn't come into play. So our equation then we could say is 9x plus 9 equals 8x plus 19. And then I can subtract 8x from both sides of my equal sign. And because I'm taking the variables to the left, I'm going to take the constants to the right. I'm going to say minus 9. That cancels the constants. 9x minus 8x is simply x. And 19 minus 9 is 10. And so x equals 10 is what we're looking for since they asked us to solve for x. Make sure you're checking to see what you're being asked for, because they might have asked for the angle measure, and then x equals 10 would not be the right answer. You would have to put 10 back in here, and 10 times 9 would be 90 plus 9. So the angle measure would be 99. But they've asked us for x, and so this is the correct answer. X equals 10. And then for 10, it says solve for x. In this case, these two angles are not congruent. They form a 180 degree, they form a straight line. And so what we're going to do is add them together. X plus 92 plus x plus 112, and the total there is 180 degrees. And so we need to find the value of x that makes this a true statement. So x plus x is 2x, and 92 plus 112. 92 plus 112 is 204. So 2x plus 204 equals 180. And then I want to get rid of the part that doesn't have the variable with it first. So I'm going to subtract 204 and subtract 204. 2x equals 180 minus 204. So 180 minus 204 is negative 24. So this is negative 24, and on the left we have 2x. So then I divide by 2, x equals negative 12. And that would be the value of x that makes this true. If you put negative 12, just real quick here, if I put negative 12 here, negative 12 plus 92 would be 80. And negative 12 in here for x makes this one 100. And obviously 100 plus 80 is 180. So that's a quick check, but that's a good idea to check to see if it works. And that brings us to the end of part 2. We'll see you in the next part.